All right, Devin, let's get into a little Steelers stuff. What chance do you give this whole Aaron Rodgers experiment of working?
I think it has a chance. For me, I think in that division, I still think Baltimore's the cream of the crop right now in the division. I think, before you play any games, if you're picking on paper, I would still pick Baltimore. I thought adding Jaire Alexander was a big get for them. But I think for Pittsburgh, you already knew you had a good defense. You knew you wanted to maybe do some things a little different on defense for the way the season ended last year. And I thought going to get Jaylen Ramsay was a part of that. Getting Darius Slay was a part of that. And then I think, you add in Jonnu Smith to get back with Arthur Smith. So I think obviously with Aaron Rodgers, you get a certain level and a standard that comes from the way he plays the quarterback position. And I know he's not the same Aaron Rodgers that won 4 MVPs and all of that, but I think the way he'll be able to decide where he wants to go with the ball to lead the guys on offense, I think it gives him a chance. And I think that's all you want in that division, to go out there and compete. Even last year with Baltimore winning the division, it was tough against Pitt. Like, they struggled against Pitt in both games. Obviously pulled away in that second game, but I think it'll be a good matchup. And I would pick them right now over Cincinnati, just with Cincinnati not really changing much about their defense, other than their defensive coordinator. So I think Pitt is in second, and I think for them, just get to the dance and let the chips fall where they fall.
As a former safety and a really, really good one, what did you make of the Steelers dealing perhaps a future Hall of Famer still in his 20s in Minkah Fitzpatrick and bringing in Jaylen Ramsay and Jonnu Smith? Would you have made that trade?
I think when I saw that, it told me that they feel like there's something there that they won't get going forward with Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think when you have a guy that they got him, from Miami when it didn't work out, when Coach Flores got there, they got a stud. You get a guy, and I'm sure they felt like, man, we just stole this guy from Miami, and he turned into that and more. So when I saw them, trade him, and like you said, under 30, it just made me feel like whatever they see on a day-to-day basis, they don't feel like it's the same as what they were getting. And to me, that's the only way you get rid of a player who not only has been a great player for you, he's been a leader. He's had a presence in Pittsburgh. It was surprising to me. And it's hard for me to say that I would or wouldn't do the same thing without obviously knowing exactly why they made that move. But Minkah Fitzpatrick is a Jersey guy, so I've been hearing about him since he was in high school, and he's lived up to every kind of expectation he's had in the NFL. So I'm sure Miami's happy to get him back, and I know he probably wants to prove a lot of people wrong in Pittsburgh right now.
Can Jaylen still play? And as a former defensive back safety yourself, how easy or difficult would it be for him? And I know he's done probably a little bit of this already, to toggle back and forth between, slot, outside, and even some safety. Can he help make up for Minkah's absence back there?
So that's the interesting thing for me in the trade of, Deshaun Elliott played really well last year for Pittsburgh getting there. And Juan Thornhill is a guy that has been a good NFL starter throughout his career. But I would say overall, if you said, hey, I want those two guys over Minkah Fitzpatrick, I think a lot of people would say, I would go with Minkah. So now when you add Jaylen Ramsay and you've already added Darius Slay to go with Joey Porter Jr., and you had guys like Beanie Bishop, who's played well last year in the slot, it's confused me a little bit of what direction they want to go. Now, I don't know, Jaylen Ramsay wants to make that move full-time to safety. Can he make that move physically? Without a doubt. The guy's he's a stud. I mean, coming out of college, it was talked about how if he wanted, he could be a corner or a safety. So to me, the biggest difference when you go from corner to safety is the communication role of being the guy in charge of that back end and what you want to do as a defense. And, Pittsburgh historically has been, one of those defenses that are aggressive, that can get in and out of multiple things. So for Jaylen Ramsay, that would be a transition to going from, being out on the edge to now being the guy who's telling everybody else what to do. I definitely think he's capable. He's already showed he can play in the slot throughout his NFL career and the different stops he's had. He's done that. So it wouldn't surprise me, though, if he got moved to a full-time safety role if they said, let's get our best players on the field at the same time as much as we can.
The Steelers have really been the headliner of the offseason with all the moves they've made, acquiring DK Metcalf, trading for Jaylen Ramsay, signing Darius Slay, Derek Harmon first round, trading out Minka. Devin, of all the moves that they made, which one do you think is the most impactful?
I think you have to go in today's game. I think DK Metcalf, I think, is definitely the big acquisition this offseason. I think simply because all we talk about every week is the quarterback, the receiver, how many points you're scoring. And I think for this Pittsburgh Steelers team, when you look at last year, it just felt like, man, hey, they're playing well enough on defense that if we could just find a way to score more touchdowns or find a way to make some drives a little bit longer, we would have won this game or we would have won that game. And I think when you add Aaron Rodgers and you give him a DK Metcalf, I think a lot of people are now feeling like, okay, our defense has an expectation of how they're going to play. Now we can match that a little bit offensively. And I think the key acquisition of all this offseason will be when they re-sign or work out T.J. Watt's deal, because I think he is the true heartbeat of the team. That I think without him, a lot of this is kind of wasted air of talking about it, because I think he is a big part of what they do. And I think they need to find a way, which I think they will, to fix that situation and get him back in the building.